Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com. Today we're going to make Mocha shortbreads, and this is what they look like. These are so buttery and tender, and then we're going to dress them for the holidays with white chocolate ribbons and bows. So the first thing you will need to do is preheat your oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 165 degrees Celsius. And then you will need a 12 by 9 inch baking pan, so that's 30 by 23 centimeters. And I like to butter the pan, so I've just melted a little bit of butter, and then I use a pastry brush to brush the bottom and sides. You could just spray your pan with one of those non-stick vegetable sprays if you prefer, but we'll add a little more buttery flavor by buttering our pan. Okay. So now, if you have an electric stand mixer like I have here, use your paddle attachment, or you could use a hand mixer, or really you could just mix this together in a bowl with a wooden spoon, because we don't want to add a lot of air into the batter, because shortbreads are very dense textured. What we're looking for is just everything mixed together. So first thing you will need is 1 cup, 225 grams of butter. Have your butter at room temperature. I'm using unsalted. You could use salted, just leave out the salt in the recipe. The important thing is try to use a good quality butter, because shortbreads are about butter. So I'm just going to mix this until it's nice and smooth. Okay. And next, I'm going to add 1 cup, 115 grams of confectioner's sugar. You may know that as either powdered or icing sugar. And sift your sugar first, because it always tends to have lumps. And then I'm also going to add, for flavoring, because you've got the coffee, you got the chocolate, vanilla. So I'm adding 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of pure vanilla extract. And I'm just going to beat this on medium speed just until everything's all mixed together. Okay, that looks good. So for the coffee flavor, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon, which is about 3 grams of instant espresso powder. Now, if you can't find espresso powder, you could just use, instant coffee powder for this. And if you want this gives you a pretty mild flavor of the coffee. If you want a stronger flavor, you could add a little more. So I'm just going to mix that in. Okay, so now in a separate bowl, I'm going to sift all the dry ingredients together. So if you have a strainer, or if you actually have a sifter, you can use that. 1 1/3 cups of all-purpose flour. You may know that as plain flour. That would be 170 grams. And then 1/2 cup, 50 grams of unsweetened cocoa powder. Now you can use either just the natural unsweetened or the Dutch processed here, whichever one, and just use your favorite brand. And then to give us that really nice, tender, melt in your mouth texture to our shortbreads, we are adding 2 tablespoons, 18 grams of cornstarch. Now, if you can't find cornstarch, another alternative would be rice flour. That also will give you that real nice tender texture. And then just 1/4 teaspoon, 1 gram of salt. And we'll just... Now, if you didn't have a sifter and you don't have a strainer, you could just use a wire whisk and just make sure, mix everything together and get a little air in there. Okay. And then I'm just going to add that and mix it all together. So you can see, you could just do this in a bowl with a wooden spoon. It's not It's not hard on your arm for shortbreads. Okay, so I'm just going to mix this in slowly. You don't want that flour coming up in your face. Okay, so we're done. Pretty simple batter. This is great for at Christmas time. It's easy to make. They're so good. They look cute. Okay, scrape all that off. Okay, and now just put it into, make sure that's all mixed in. So now you could use a spoon or an offset spatula, or I'm just going to use my fingers. I find it the easiest. Just spread it out into an even layer. Okay, make sure you get those corners. These are fairly thin, this shortbread. So you want to make sure it's a pretty even layer. And then what I like to do, because it's a little rough, you could take a spoon, or if you have an offset spatula, and then just run it to kind of even it out. Make it a little neater. That way you can kind of, as you're running it along, you can kind of tell if it's even thickness. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Smell that chocolate. Okay, so now what I like to do is score the top of the shortbread. Now score, you need a knife. Score means don't cut all the way through, just kind of a little way through the shortbread. So what I'm doing, I'm going to divide this pan into like 24, almost about 2-inch, 5-centimeter squares. I'm not going to use a ruler. You could. I'm just going to eyeball. So I'm going to divide in half, straight down. And then each half I'll divide in half. Like I said, if you want to be precise, you can get out that ruler. I'm not against that. And then I'm going to cut this way in half, and then each half into thirds. Okay, that looks pretty even. So now, baking time. Everyone's oven is a little different. It is hard when you're doing something chocolate to tell when it's done. Because these are thin, it's not going to take very long. At the most, I would say 15 minutes. I would say like 13 to 15 minutes. So you might want to look at it a little earlier than that, depending. Your oven might be running a little hot. So what you're looking for is it'll be set. And you might just notice in the center it's a little wet, but the outside of your shortbreads will be dry looking. So, and you could take a toothpick, insert it in the center, and it will come out clean. So say 13 to 15 minutes. Okay, so our Mocha shortbreads are done. As you can see, they did rise a little in the center, or all over, but that will drop down. And you can see it's dry to the touch. So now what I like to do, put your baking pan on a wire rack, and then I want to cut all the way through now, because if we let these cool completely before you cut them, then they tend to break apart, crumble more. So, and this time cut all the way through, just gently. And then once you do that, what we're going to do is just let them cool completely before we take them out of the pan, and then we will decorate them with white chocolate. So now our Mocha shortbreads have cooled down, so we want to take them out of the pan. I just like to take my knife and recut. And then I like to use an offset. This is like plastic to get them out. There we go. And continue. So these are very good just like this. You really don't have to decorate the tops. But if you're going to do like a Christmas time for gift giving, it's kind of, I mean, these are just too cute. So you will need 2 ounces, which is 60 grams of white. You can either use white chocolate, just regular white chocolate, or what I'm using here today is a white, like melting wafers, also known as a candy coating. And the difference is when the candy coating dries, it's kind of hard, almost like a tempered chocolate, which is nice for storing. So if you have a pastry bag like this, you can use this to pipe, or really you can just use a little plastic bag. I mean, if you have your piping bag, you could put like a little small plain tip in. I just don't bother. Just cut off the ends. So if you want, put your piping bag in a glass like this, and then you've got 2 free hands. And to melt your chocolate, I just did it in the microwave. Do it in short, like maybe 10 to 15 second bursts. Take it out, give it a good stir, put it back in a little longer. You don't want to overheat, especially white chocolate, so watch it carefully if you're doing it in the microwave. You could also just do it in a bowl over a saucepan of simmering water if you don't have a microwave, either way. And you could use, if you didn't want to use white chocolate, you could use dark chocolate, you could use milk chocolate. And so put that in there. And then I'm just going to, once you get all the chocolate down, kind of twist it. And then I'm just going to use some scissors to cut off the end here. This one a little hole. Okay, so now if you want, you could do like a practice one somewhere else, but we will see. I'll practice on a cookie. So what I'm going to do is, with even pressure, a line this way, a line this way. Now sometimes I just leave it like that, or I want to get really fancy. Like so. Kind of cute. I'm not an artist, so have fun with this. Do all kinds of fancy designs. If it's other times of the year, you could do like at Halloween spirals or something, little cobwebs. It's a great cookie. It's fun to decorate. So let's try one. And if, just to mention, if you like the edge ones, some of them rose up. If you don't like that, you can just cut it off. So I'm going to, actually, I will cut that off and eat that. Oh, I love shortbread. This one is so tender. And it's buttery. It has a really nice mocha flavor. Not overly done, just enough coffee put in there to just go, oh. It just kind of highlights the chocolate. And then if you ate one with the white chocolate, that kind of adds even more flavor. So try these. And until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com.